Okay, this is going to be the patch notes for Darkest Dungeon version 0.11.31833, also known as the Beasts and Burdens patch. You can tell I'm very excited about this patch because it is still daylight out, and it's been a while since I've recorded anything in the daylight. We're going to go over the patch notes in detail. I'll give a little bit of my color commentary based on my own experiences playing many campaigns of Darkest Dungeon 2. So I hope you find this useful. Let's dive right in. So the headlining feature is the creatures. It looks like we have Gnashers, Webbers, Spitters, and Carrion Eaters joining the group of monsters trying to end our runs. These creatures seem like they will be featured in the Creature Den, which appears to be like the lair, except unlike being a 3-wave experience, this one will be a 2-wave experience, no break in between, and the fight is supposed to be challenging. If you succeed, it appears that you will get a animal part, which is a item of loot that will confer no benefits immediately, but you'll turn it into the innkeeper at your next inn, and apparently you'll get substantial benefit. We'll have to wait and see. It also decreases loathing, which is useful. Moving on. So hero paths are the next big component. And I don't know if this fits into the burdens piece. This almost sounds more like a power increase. But basically what it means is that heroes arriving at the crossroads will not be basically just fixed in their nature, right? At the moment, when you get a character, they have quirks, positive and negative, and that's about it for them. But moving forward, now there are going to be enhancements to those characters. So the first example that they give is wanderers, apprentices, and masters that are going to have a certain number of skills automatically upgraded. This could be really nice. It means that you'll be less dependent on finding mastery points. And then additionally, there will be 2 custom paths per class. They don't go into a lot of detail, but the ones that they give here is the Plague Doctor has a surgeon and an alchemist path, where surgeon is melee and bleed focused, and alchemist sounds like it is much more of all about the blights. So I think that'll be really interesting because when you arrive at the crossroads, there'll be more pieces of information that you need to weigh and consider in building a team, right? You may want to pick a class that you're not particularly fond of because they are a master, or you might find that a particular flavor of Plague Doctor plays well with a particular flavor of Grave Robber. The Oasis, it says new location. We already had the Oasis, though. But the Oasis is going to be a stress-reducing location, but will also provide these mineral-infused spring waters, which are kind of like stress and healing to go. The thing that I will say about the Oasis that I think is important to note is I have found it to be more beneficial for relationship building rather than simply for the stress healing. I find that oftentimes because a particular character does not always have the option to interact with a place that you stop, it's a huge opportunity cost to go to an Oasis and then find out that you can't take your one character who is stressed and get the stress healing. The items might sweeten the deal. New monsters. We have new pillagers, aka murder hobos, according to my chat. But we have the pillager Firemouth, which will reinforce the antiquarian and apparently has a lot of fire damage. And the pillager mongrel, who guards their master and provides high-speed bleed damage. So I'm assuming that the mongrel is a dog. The swine proliferate unchecked in their filthy warrens. The swine skeever makes a scathing return. That's a scary one because the swine skeever in Darkest Dungeon 1 was not someone you wanted to run into and only showed up in champion level dungeons. The academic view. This functionality was already in the game, but has been greatly enhanced now. This is a way for you to look at any particular character and see what's going on with them their nature, etc. So it looks like it's been polished enhanced to facilitate inspection of heroes and monsters alike during combat. Holding Alt while moused over a hero will focus the camera on that actor and bring up a summary of all statuses, tokens, resistance. Alternatively, you can middle mouse button click to bring this up. This is something I was unaware of and not using, so whatever form it was in the game before, I wasn't messing with it, but I'm very excited to look at the skills that the enemies have and understand that better. To that next point, as I was just mentioning, monster skills will appear here, which means that we're going to have a really good idea of what they can do, hopefully from what locations. And obviously they give us a little bit of a poke, and they're like, hey, by the way, look at these, they might help you to defeat things. The travel log update. When arriving in the inn, players will be greeted with an updated travel log that captures the important events of the previous region. Meltdowns, quirks, etc. One thing that I hope this includes is any relationships that have fallen out of favor. And we'll talk more about fallen out of favor in a minute here. Below the arrival heading, the rewards for having delivered any animal parts will also be spelled out. So we'll find out what we get from that. And they're going to continue working on the travel log, but I think it's going to be quite useful, and having more information to go back and look at what exactly happened is going to be very valuable. All right, new monsters. We've already talked about the mongrel and the fire mouth. In the creature den, we'll have rabid gnashers, carrion eaters, carrion devourers, spitters, webbers, and a new champion, the gander. We don't know what the gander is, but if Darkest Dungeon 1 was anything to indicate, the gnasher will be a dog, the carrion eaters and devourers will be worms, the spitters and webbers will be spiders. Brain, hello. And the gander, who the heck knows? Now, this is the headline for changes that are being made to heroes. Combo is cool, and combo is coming back with a vengeance. You'll see most of the changes here are to further specialize characters towards being combo generators or combo spenders. And a lot of that combo capacity is being front-loaded into the pre-enhanced pre-mastery skills. We'll go through each class individually. Starting with the Grave Robber. The Grave Robber is a combo spender. So 50% crit for basically all of your main single target dagger attacks if you have a combo point. The Hellion is also getting an increase in damage from combo. Wicked Hack is no longer going to be a mortal strike from the World of Warcraft parlance, but basically a healing reduction ability. I think that makes sense. There weren't a lot of enemies that were healing. And then if it bleeds, a skill that I don't use much is going to become better at bleeding if combo is present. Same for bleed out. The Highwaymen has kind of a hybrid role here, as you will see. So Pistol Shot is going to apply daze or stun based on combo. That seems very powerful. Grape Shot Blast, similarly, is going to get more damage in its plus version and is losing its combo effect, which I think is fine. Open Vein is going to be a larger bleed on combo. I think that's potentially good and useful. And then Tracking Shot is now going to apply combo, but it does not prevent dodge tokens from stacking, which is a little bit sad, but I didn't use Tracking Shot all that frequently. Jester. Razor's Wit will now apply combo, but no longer grant dodge. This one I'm kind of two minds about. I think that the upgrade to Razor's Wit will still retain its improved dodge. Harvest is getting a 25% chance to apply combo. Seems nice. That means you'll be 50-50 because you have two 25% chances. Play Out clears combo from target. I don't remember what Play Out does exactly. I've basically never used it. And Solo applies combo. The Leper no longer needs to spend Mastery to be able to hit with Hew and Chop on comboed targets. Seems nice. Man-at-Arms, further specializing in the direction of a taunt character. Now, Crush is going to be doing relatively large self-heals on combo. This is something I could see using substantially. And then Hold the Line, there was a bug fix, but nothing major. The Occultist is seeing a lot of changes. Weakening Curse, weak tokens reduced to 1 from 2. Weakening Curse also applies combo. Seems really nice. I like the idea of the Occultist being a combo generator. Abyssal Artillery will automatically, in its non-mastery state, grant combo and grant more combo in its upgraded form. And then Binding Shadows, which is the forward 1 attack. I'm going to have to see how this looks in game, but it is now going to provide unchecked power on combo. It no longer has a chance of providing a second unchecked power and has more crit. Plague Doctor. Ounce of Prevention, no longer a stress remover. It is a better bleed, blight, and burn resist. I think that could actually make it somewhat viable. And Blinding Gas adds combo. The Runaway. Major changes here. Searing Strike deals greater burn damage on combo, so similar refinement to what we saw with the Let It Bleed on the Highwaymen. I believe that was which one it was. Searing Strike no longer does the propagation to adjacents. I didn't find that particularly useful, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over the loss of that. Ransack now pulls 2 and applies burn to that random adjacent thing. I think that's fine. That sounds like a thing that you use early in the fight to pull someone forward, and leaving a blind behind is, or a burn behind is perfectly fine too. Dragonfly now has a 25% chance to apply combo. Dragonfly Plus, higher chance. So basically this is the front line Abyssal Artillery. And then Smokescreen gets a big blind from 2 tokens to 1 token and applies combo. Smokescreen was a great ability for the Runaway, and I don't think these other changes improve the utility of the Runaway all that much, but we're going to have to wait and see how valuable combo is. Block tokens and block plus tokens now stack up to 3. I think this is great. Good news for the man-at-arms in particular. And monsters will also resist stun, much like players do. So as a reminder, when you get stunned, you get a buff that prevents you from getting restunned. On to some more monster changes. The Ghoul now generates block token instead of dodge. Praise be. That's a really, really nice change that I'm not too sad about. The Librarian's Flashfire is now Burnout, not a big deal. And the Pitfire's Accelerant is basically going to function exactly the same. So the amount of fire damage the Pit Fighter applies is going to increase each turn, but there's no longer going to be a action consumed by it. So every single time the Pit Fighter would, at the beginning of the turn, pop up and go grrr and do their thing, that the mechanic of that is still happening, but we're not going to have to watch the toast, basically. The Lost Battalion. Quirks related to the Lost Battalion now apply correctly when fighting the Dreaming General. I think that's good news for generally. I guess there's a positive and a negative, though. And defensive formation adjusted slightly so that it only targets foot soldiers. This was a little weird. You would occasionally have defensive formation target one of the high-value targets, not the low-value foot soldiers. Pillagers. Added mashes containing new mongrel and firemouth monsters. So mashes are like the combination of enemies you can potentially run into. Fixed an issue with hard antiquarian mash sometimes spawning in lieu of a normal difficulty fight. I think I've had that happen. It kicked my butt big time. And then the Shambler, Clapper Claws will now prioritize combo marked targets where applicable. This will make the Shambler more scary. Hero Shrine combats, this is an easy one. Grave Robber 2 and Jester 2 were both a little confusing. I experienced this as well. Happy to see them refining that a smidge. Quirks. Right now, one thing that I will say is quirks are sometimes not easy to understand what they do. But Braggart added a 10% chance of getting a taunt token when hitting an enemy. I think that could be good. It could make Braggart interesting on, say, a man-at-arms. Thanatophobia added 10 stress on team member death. That makes sense. Dancer's balance changed completely. When moved by enemies, 15% chance of gaining 2 dodge tokens. In shuffle comps, that could be useful. I don't think it's going to be particularly impactful. Daredevil added 50% chance of 1 stress healed when missed by an enemy. Very interesting. I think on certain characters that could be very powerful. New quirk, Hypochondriac. 5% chance when a hero is hit to contract a random disease. This is interesting because the scariest diseases, as my last run through proved, are the ones that build up over time. And the fact that all diseases override all other diseases leads me to believe that Hypochondriac is going to be annoying, but not deadly, because you're not going to get into a situation where you have brittle bones with 50 stacks that zeroed out your Hellions hit points. As an example, another new disease is the Oozes. 15% chance per turn of contracting Blight in combat. Annoying. And then Botulism, minus 15% HP. 5% chance of blind or daze per round start. Let's not get Botulism in our next round. Miscellaneous gameplay changes. In items and SC items now have a much more descriptive tooltip to explain what they do. Seems good. Negative relationships will no longer hate block in item use. Thank goodness. It made it really difficult to fix negative relationships. This is not what communicated well. Yes, it was just frustrating, and they wanted to remove that frustration. Random initiative roll was changed from a D8 to a D6. This basically means there will be less variety in the way that ordering happens. So speed is going to be more important, and it is going to be more reliable. Affinity thresholds for forming relationships was 6, now it's 7, so it's going to be harder to make a positive relationship or a negative one. But positive relationship durability was 4, now 5, so it's going to be more difficult to lose one once you get it. Increased provisioner in-store item stock significantly to provide more strategic shopping opportunities. Thank goodness. There was so much RNG in getting a roast or not a roast, etc. Increased loot for high difficulty road combats. Nothing was worse than having like a ghoul and getting 4 relics for it. Scouting related stagecoach items and trophies, like the unabridged edition, have been fixed. The inn now heals 1 stress per hero automatically. So I guess 4 stress heal automatically. And then the trackers map, stagecoach upgrade reinstated. It scouts for creature dens and oases. And last but not least, story view improvements, distance to mountain displayed, academic alt combat view improvements, and improved travelogue in the inn. And that right there is the patch notes for the Beasts and Burdens update. I'm super excited. I will be playing it in mere hours. And yeah, I'll get this up as soon as I can, and hope to see you around on stream. If you want daily Darkest Dungeon content, feel free to hit that subscribe button. But other than that, that's it for me, and happy Darkest Dungeoning. Bye-bye.